It's been 1 year with plenty of new amazing cosmetics and 6 new characters. So let's take a look at their best and worst cosmetics in my opinion. For the Trapper, the newest cash-strapped outfit from the Rift has taken my number 1 place as the best cosmetic for him. I love that this shows a side of the Trapper we haven't seen yet, as he is canonically one of the richest characters in DbD. And the golden machete as well as gold covering his hands look real good on first person. The mask is also pretty unique. As of the worst, I have to go with the Rotting Leaves Rift recolor for the Trapper. They just took a cool cosmetic of a past Rift and decided to cover it in vomit and poop. It looks absolutely horrible, but I do like the mallard duck in the back. The Wraith recent Rift skin is also one of the most unique I have seen, as it once again shows the African roots of Wraith that a lot of his cosmetics completely ignore, while at the same time showing some of the mechanic parts of his life in America. The weapon is cute, and I love the overall gecko vibe. Lord Dracula seems like it was made as a filler recolor for the Rift by taking various random pieces together, as this cosmetic has the cape from the Valentine's Day cosmetic with the green vest recolor. It looks terrible combined, and I am sure if the real Dracula saw this cosmetic, he would be pissed. At least the weapon is cool. I still don't understand how the fictional cat cosmetic for Hillbilly is not an ultra rare, considering just how much it changes the character visually for the same price as some of the other simple cosmetics in the game. I low-key wish they changed his voice to be cat growls. And yet once again, we have a new Rift recolor which looks absolutely hideous. It's clearly made as a joke cosmetic inspired on the 4th of July, but it just sucks, and the only redeeming part of it is the weapon, which is still not as different compared to the original weapon it is recolored from. When the Death cosmetic was revealed for the nurse, I expected it to be a set, but it turns out this skin is not, and that's absolutely crazy. We have a licensed version of the nurse that turns her into a skeleton, and it comes with a deep rift recolor too. The skeleton hands look awesome on first person. Fading Fire is really weird, and I am not sure what the devs were going for. It looks odd, apparently based on an apocalypse where everything is burned, but I don't feel like this fits the nurse. I haven't seen anyone ever use this cosmetic yet, but I have to admit the weapon looks kinda cool. And funnily enough, this is the only Molten Fire weapon cosmetic which I don't like as much. No matter how many Huntress cosmetics have released, I still find the Spoils of War Huntress to be absolutely clean. I just love the military vibes this cosmetic has, and outside of one cosmetic from the Doctor, I find it curious how there are barely any war-inspired cosmetics in Dead by Daylight. Ignition is a cosmetic that is heavily based on the default that is being sold as a rare. As an uncommon cosmetic, this would have been really cool and unique, but for the price, there are just better options. It's a cool concept, but compared to the other cosmetics from the same collection, it's clear where the effort went to. When the Family Knowledge hack cosmetic released on Christmas, I didn't think too much about it, but it quickly became one of my favorite cosmetics for the hack, all because it completely changes the sound effects of the killer to sound like wood. I love how it basically transforms the hag from a mud witch to a wood monster, and the grass hair simulating dreads looks really well when combined with other outfits. And Queen of the Mire is still one of the worst value very rares in the entire game. It's literally default hag with a dress, the weapon looks basic, and there is no body transformation which is common with the other hag cosmetics. The new white recolor from the Rift at least is unique in that it makes hag skin pale. The Blood Shock Doctor skin released on the Blood Moon event, and while at first I didn't think much about it, it is also became one of my favorite skins for him, and it's also pretty rare to see because it was time limited. It also comes with unique electric sounds that you can constantly hear in game. And overall the visual design is brutal, fitting for the Doctor. The first prototype Rift recolor looks absolutely horrible and not in a good way. I feel like none of the colors combine well together, and the concept itself just looks weird. I much prefer the original cosmetic this one is recolored from, and yet that version is also one of the most boring cosmetics the Doctor has. Leatherface only has 2 skins, and in my opinion I really like the Pretty Woman outfit, as I love my killers having cool suits, and the mask is also pretty iconic. And as for the worst, it has to be the Old Lady cosmetic, but I still think it's pretty cool, and I do love the wooden mallet as a weapon. Pig leather was the very first cosmetic in the entire game, which came with unique sounds, and it was also one of the most expensive very rare cosmetics, as it cost 15 bucks instead of 10 due to the pricing of auric cells. Now that the price was adjusted, this is one of the best cosmetics for the pig. It's creepy, comes with a really cool weapon, and it low-key gives an in-game advantage because of how dark it is. The new Blighted Pig cosmetic, on the other hand, comes with an in-game disadvantage, since you will be so bright. The weapon looks interesting, but the head is just very meh, and to make things worse, it is currently completely glitched and it's missing a lot of hair. It's funny how previously the best skin was Mr. Puddles for the clown, a community designed cosmetic, and now we have yet another community designed cosmetic, but this one in my opinion is much creepier, and I love the original vibe of opera clowns. The weapon also looks amazing, unlike the one that came with the Mr. Puddles cosmetic, and I still think that the Bright Havoc recolor for clown just looks hideous, and not in a good clown way. This cosmetic is a recolor from another cosmetic that was actually rare, so you're paying more for something that is just visually a vomit of colors. Every time the planets align, Behavior releases a very rare skin that has the quality of an ultra rare, and the Broken Piece Spirit skin is one of them, as it completely changes every single glass sound effect she has to porcelain shattering, and it just looks absolutely amazing. The skin is visually beautiful, as it's inspired by kintsugi, which is the practice of repairing cracks with gold, almost like the entity decided to fix the spirit. 10 out of 10 skin, and one of the best value purchases you can do in terms of cosmetics. The new tradition skin for Spirit did nothing wrong to earn the new position as the worst, but truth be told, the only cool thing about it is the sword. The concept of a futuristic Spirit cosmetic sounded cool, but the cosmetic itself is disappointing, and the hair looks horrible. For some reason, it looks as if my graphics were set too low. Spirit just has a lot of competition for amazing cosmetics. Once again, for the Legion, since they are 4 characters, I will rank the skins individually, starting with Never Stop Slashing Frank as still my favorite Legion cosmetic for him, as well as one of the most beautiful weapons in the entire game. For the worst, my opinion hasn't changed. Slam Dunk looks meh, and as a green I would have accepted it, but as a very rare it's very disappointing. Bush Party Julie was one of my most used cosmetics for Legion, as I love the casual vibe it has, as well as the mask being an expressionless face, the most realistic skin they have. Skull Gang is conceptually amazing, and the weapon is really cool, but the skirt ruins the cosmetic for me, and there is no other Julie cosmetic I have problems with. Bad Obsession Joey looks like it came straight from a futuristic video game like Killzone or Destiny, and I love how unique it is compared to the rest of cosmetics, and the weapon is fire. Fluorescent Fear is still the same hideous orange trash it has always been. The blue version is much better personally. Something I learned late when I made my original video is that the Dumb Rebel outfit for Susie actually comes with unique sound effects that sound like chainmail, giving her a completely new vibe in-game. The mini sword dagger is also really cool, so I was very surprised with this cosmetic, and it's the one I used the most with Susie. However, for the worst, I still think it's Stolen Cheer, as it looks like chaos, which is fitting for Susie, but the mask individually is really funny, but overall not my style. I didn't expect the Greek skin to be beaten as fast as it did, but the DbD mobile cosmetic for the Plague is absolutely gorgeous. and in-game, the long red nails of the plague look really nice and aggressive. I love how the headpiece of the cosmetic itself contains the hair, which is not how it works for the rest of cosmetics, and I fully expected it to be a set, so I am very surprised it is not. Just like some of the previous recolors, this cosmetic is absolutely not worth the very rare rarity. This is literally a recolor of the default, and it does look cool, but there is no shot this cosmetic is worth 10 bucks. The weapon doesn't even look outstanding. Sometimes you just cannot beat the classics, as this skin is still one of the best they have added. The mask is nothing special, I will admit, and now this cosmetic is more expensive than before due to the pricing adjustments, but the cloak and the weapon are just really cool. Any mask works with this cloak, and it's the closest we can get to the actual Scream films. Brush Hunter I always considered as a weird but unique skin, however the mask just does not fit with the cosmetic itself, making it look weird. I understand that the devs intentionally did it because maybe they didn't want to make a deep rift version of the Scarecrow mask, but compared to the other Ghostface cosmetics, this one doesn't stand out as much, and not in a good pay to win way. The Demogorgon is beloved by many as the best Demogorgon skin, and makes sense as it's the one that changes the creature the most. Escaped Specimen, on the other hand, is super basic and has no inherent changes on the Demogorgon's design. However, I love how simple it is, and even if price wise it is the least worthy, this is the cosmetic I personally use the most. The Oni received a lot of incredible cosmetics this year, some from the Rift, one from DbD Mobile, but none in my opinion have beat the Blind Revenge cosmetic for Oni. I just love how different it makes the killer feel while it's not an ultra rare. The weapon has one of the coolest visual effects out of all weapon cosmetics in the game, and going from a fully armored character to a creepy curse is a really cool idea. Wildfire, on the other hand, is still the worst cosmetic in my opinion, and I was about to put one they added recently on the Rift because I much prefer the original, but it's still not as bad as the colors from this cosmetic. I really dislike the very saturated blue, which almost hurts my eyes, and it's the same blue used in one of Talita's cosmetics. The only thing I like is that the helmet has red hair, which is unique, but I much prefer the original Lunar Warrior. When they added the Blighted cosmetic for Slinger, I thought that would take number 1, but the weapon was really bad and it's also a pay to lose skin. So Frontier Vigilante it is, one of the prettiest suits for this character, as well as the best rifle he has in my personal opinion. This skin combines really well with other pieces. As for the worst, I am personally not a big fan of the Railroad Warden cosmetic, especially now that they added a recolor on the Rift which gives access to the weapon and torso. It's overall a boring cosmetic, and I wouldn't spend my Auric cells on it. I love how simple and effective this cosmetic is for Pyramid Head. I know some love the other cosmetic for him, which looks more like Silent Hill, but I love this original take that Behavior created. The weapon also looks really nice when you attack as it glows. Pyramid Blight's existence is really cool. I will never deny a skin for a licensed character, as I think they need them the most. This one, however, compared to the other ones, is not that big of a deal, but the syringe sticking out of the weapon does look nice and makes this cosmetic a bit more unique compared to the other Blighted skins. For a free cosmetic that you could get with Prime, this cosmetic is insane, and a lot of Blight mains love it. It's really rare because it has not been released yet in the store. The hands look really good in first person, and the weapon itself is one of the most unique ones he has. It's really good, and I am sure it will be popular once it's out for everyone to purchase. I am still not a fan of the Lucky Green outfit for Blight, which was part of that one time when Behavior was obsessed with adding St. Patrick's Day cosmetics on the Rift. The only thing decent about it is the weapon, which is a gold recolor of the default, so if they ever add a ranked mode with golden weapons, well, this is how it would look like. The skin itself does not combine well with anything. It's impressive how the twins have two cosmetics with completely unique walking sounds, since barely anyone bought these skins because almost nobody plays her. This is a really pretty cosmetic that sounds like grass whenever you walk. If it also had a Victor head accessory with flowers, I know this would be very popular. Now, on the other side of the spectrum of beauty, we have seabed substance, which looks super boring and ugly. And the worst part is that this cosmetic doesn't have any sounds, so even though you have an octopus on the back, it sounds metallic when you walk, which completely ruins my immersion. I absolutely love the vibe of the King of Sweets Trickster cosmetic, and I wish more skins had this cute style, because I am sure it would be very popular. Give me more pink skins for all killers basically. This was one of the cosmetics we voted for in an old survey, so there is a universe where this cosmetic does not exist. Trickster has a lot of cosmetics that look really cool and fashionable, but this one is not it. Instead of looking creepy or intimidating like the other cat cosmetics, it looks like a furry self-insert, and I think it's mostly because of the hair. Considering that this cosmetic is also a set, I think it's not that interesting and I would rather mix and match other cosmetics. Not only did Behavior decide to cook with the Castlevania skins on the Rift, they also cooked with one of the best artist skins I have ever seen. Not only does the skin look completely unique like anything else in the game before, with the Diablo vibes it has, the weapon is also not a boring ink weapon like the rest, as it comes with red, which is how the Prestige cosmetic should have been. As of the worst, which is honestly not that bad, but I am personally not a big fan of the Blooming Delusion skin. I liked it way back when it first released, but compared to the other cosmetic that she has now, this skin in my opinion has aged the worst. Deadly Equinox is another amazing DbD mobile cosmetic brought to life, but the best part is that this one belongs to a licensed killer. This is the red version of the skin, which looks really brutal when you perform the Memento Mori. And overall, the Death Lily flower is such a cool design for her. And yes, I am aware that I am breaking my own rules because this skin is an ultra rare, but this cosmetic has no business being an ultra rare. The only thing it has going on above the rest is that it is indeed creepy. It is a pay to win skin technically because of how dark it is, but that's it. The Mori looks worse than default, it's overpriced, and would have been way better as a very rare. Choosing one of the skins for the Dredge as the best was a really hard task because I think all of them are absolutely amazing, like Crab Dredge, the new Deer cosmetic, but if I have to choose one as the coolest, I have to go with War is Hell Dredge, and I know last time I went with Snowman Dredge, but I wanted to put this one on the spotlight now. It comes with unique sounds, and the overall design I think it's the coolest out of all Dredge cosmetics, as the idea of having a literal battleground of Roman warriors as part of your body is insane. And if I have to go with the worst one, once again it's the Skeletal Mask cosmetic, which is the creepiest one it has, but at the same time it could have easily been a default, and in fact it was supposed to be. I just much prefer to play with some of the craziest designs. Wesker once again has only two choices for cosmetics, and since his shirtless one or the Resident Evil 4 are not in the game, I have to go with the Blighted outfit. On paper, this is just a different flavor of default Wesker, but I do like how cool the cosmetics look in game. And of course, the Stars one is the worst by process of elimination, even though once again it's not bad. The weapon is clean, as it's a bayonet very similar to the same weapon Hunk uses, but I do prefer the default knife of Wesker because it's the same one he uses in Resident Evil Mercenaries. The Chrysalis collection came with a new cosmetic for the knight inspired on moth, and it looks so cool. The weapon has a moth design, the cape itself is also inspired on the wings of a moth, the helmet looks like the antenna of the moth, and the armor itself is fluffy just like one. It's such a cool cosmetic for the knight. I still consider this cosmetic as the worst one he had just like last time, and it fits the lore as this cosmetic was something the knight was forced to use, so even he didn't like it. The deep Rift recolor does go well with the new Christmas weapon. Just like with the Trapper, Scully received another Rift skin that shows one side of her never represented before in the cosmetics, and that is the fact that she is a millionaire. If she was released like this on default, I am sure many of us would not complain about how bad she looked like. And after the introduction of the Blood Moon cosmetic, which comes with a weapon with the saw animation, I dislike the Cyber Assassin even more. I always thought the helmet looked very goofy and the dress she has was weird compared to literally every other dress. this cosmetic just suffers because the rest of her skins are absolutely amazing. After releasing some very disappointing skins for Singularity, Behavior decided to wake up and create an absolute masterpiece for him, with what I think is the best headpiece they have ever designed and will design for the Singularity. It's so good that I wish default Singularity looked like that. The body is also cool as it's filled with gaming accessories, and the only part I dislike is how bulky the weapon looks like and also how basic the default is. I wish Behavior did unique animations for the basic attacks just like they did with Scully. Old Model was one of the very first skins he received and it could have easily been a default. It's way too basic, and when you think of the possibilities the devs could do with Singularity due to its robotic design, this cosmetic is just nothing special. Since it would be unfair to compare ultra rares with the very rares, I thought I would go with Juggernaut Xenomorph because of how clean it looks. The tail was originally the worst tail the Xenomorph had, but after a fix, it is now in my opinion one of the cleanest. It just feels really good to use this skin. And since I am talking about the cleanest skins, well, this cosmetic is incredible and one of the creepiest in the entire game compared to how sleek Grid Xenomorph is and how cool Juggernaut Xenomorph is. This is the one cosmetic that I use the least. Not saying it's bad, but maybe it's placebo and I miss a lot with its tail. This might be the hottest take in the entire video, but Charred Chucky is the cosmetic I use the most with Chucky, even though when I first saw it, I thought it was really bad. The weapon glows and I love it. Because of that, it is noticeable in game unlike the rest of knives, and whenever you pick a survivor up, you can see the charred part of Chucky very close. It surprised me how much I actually enjoy this outfit. I do wish it looked more like the first movie design, but it doesn't because of licensing issues. The Blighted one, on the other hand, I find really weird. While the design of Chucky himself is really good and creepy, as I love how there are dull parts growing out of it, to this day I still don't know what the weapon is supposed to be, and it's so jarring in game. It's not a bad skin, but I much prefer the charred cosmetic or the scarred one rather than the blighted skin. If you played in the anniversary, there is a high chance you have this cosmetic, and you would know how amazing it is. The bottle comes with its own unique sound effects, the dress itself also has completely new sounds whenever you walk with it, and it was free. Insane how much effort they put on a cosmetic that was basically given away. And if I have to choose one as the worst, I personally find the colors of the Greenville prep skin to be really ugly, as the only part I enjoy is the blonde hair. I much prefer the pink cheerleader with the black glove skin, and the yellow wrench weapon compared to the grey basic one. For the best cosmetic for Vecna, I think his whispered one is really solid and super cool compared to his default version, as it makes him look significantly more like an evil lich, and most importantly, Vecna is not bald. The weapon is also really cool. Now, I know this cosmetic has not been released yet, but I can already tell which one I will prefer the most. And knowing Behavior, the weapon looks like it's going to be super annoying to see in first person. I am still glad that this cosmetic exists, and I will get it to support Behavior making more Vecna skins. I know I am going to get in a lot of trouble with Castlevania fans for saying this, but out of the two cosmetics I can rank from Dracula, the Darkness Reigns one is the one that I much prefer, as it gives him that classy Dracula look that the default one has. Also, Dracula looks really nice with a clean shave, as this cosmetic makes him look significantly younger. And yes, that means this one is the worst in my opinion, and while I appreciate the fact that we have this cosmetic for Dracula, I like the default one much more. My biggest complaint is how stiff the clothes look like, and I understand that this is how it is in the original, but it just looks odd. Now as for the final killer, since she does not have enough cosmetics yet, the best one I have to go with is the Mighty Swagger Houndmaster. Even though the actual color I enjoy the most is the white color of this cosmetic, I do like how great the amethyst gems look like the jewelry in this cosmetic, and I also love how the black crow weapon looks rather than the orange one from the white color. If the crow belonged to the white version, then I would have chosen that one as the best. And as for the worst one, since I didn't want to choose the white version, I decided to go with this recolor, mainly because I think it looks ugly with the default design of the skin, and I think a crocodile or reptile based pirate attire would have looked significantly better as a unique design, maybe the clothes she used while she was trapped in the Dragon's Tooth Island. Anyways, let me know what you think is the best and worst cosmetic for your favorite killer. As always, thank you for watching and have a nice day.